Welcome to MES e-learning channel. In this session, we are going to learn about pop art and installation art. Previously, we have seen about the different kinds of abstract paintings or fine painting, fine art paintings, etc. Now, this pop art emerged as a reaction to the earlier consumerism, mass media, popular culture, etc. But pop art, as it is said, is about popular art. You can see the popular faces over there, and it is very different from the other art forms which we have seen earlier. Now, this gained momentum somewhere in the 50s. Now, here are some of the examples of the pop art. You can see some of the figures are very repetitive in nature. It could be different faces, it could be a single face that is repeated. Initially, these were used for decoration, for decorative purposes, and also in advertisements and things like that. But you can see the bold use of colors, vibrant colors, and these were used as large, paintings. These were very large, not, so the scale was quite large. Perhaps they wanted the viewer to be immersed in that art. So, it was also a breakaway from the hyper serious and conceptual nature of the earlier moments of art, and it ultimately provided a breeding ground for reactionary movement. That is one of the art forms was pop art. There were also others. Now, pop art initially was intended, as I said, for decoration, but then it also exhibited a kind of a freedom which was quite novel, and which was accepted by the popular culture and by the people also. So, it touched upon things like women's emancipation or freedom, etc. This also played a major role in making it a very popular kind of an art form. So, in keeping in mind with the climate of 1960s, it was also concerned with many political themes, very bold political themes. It brought humor into the art form. It also sort of was satirical in nature, and a kind of freedom in expressing the art and their feelings in a particular way. So, this is the style that emerged, as I said, in the 1960s. And Lawrence Alloway, he was one of those prominent person who sort of brought it to the forefront as a artistic form, as an art. And there were many critics, there were many artists, many you could say even from different fields. They became a part of the group, and they their influence actually made it very popular around that time. So, as you see, the defining feature of this art form is that bold use of bright colors and icons of the popular culture or consumerist imagery, etc. And this contemporary art in London, actually Alloway used this term somewhere in the 1950s, early 1950s, to give that abbreviation, pop art, pop art. And it was accepted as a general form of art. Initially, it was actually it had a its place was that of a decorative item, but slowly it moved into the form of art. Some more examples you can see over here. Now, here you can see that it is quite easily recognizable. That is because of the kind of recognizable faces also that you can see, or even some of the themes that you would see here. One is Marilyn Monroe, okay, film star, and her face is quite commonly used. Then the other is women's emancipation or women's rights movement, or any kind of movement of freedom against oppression. Then the consumerist, you could see the symbol, what is that, tomato soup or soup. And of course, here you see the dollar, the green man, the little green man. So, most of the imagery that they use is something very popular, like of celebrities, newspaper items, etc. Another feature, of course, is the bright color that you see, the kind of color. You don't see any shading or anything of that sort. It's like as if a small child has drawn all this, you know. There is also irony, humor, satire, all these things are also incorporated into that. See that figure, you know, showing a empty person and some people around him. Of course, you can give your interpretation to that, you know. So it was also like mass production, like, you know, the print making, large prints could be made and these images could be easily be reproduced. So they were trying to remove that, you could say, that line between high art and low art. Like, you know, this is fine art and this is very trashy art. So kind of removing those boundaries between the art. And also you could say that, you know, mixed type of medium was used. So not necessarily it's on a canvas or something, it could be anything, it could be on the walls also, like they say graffiti or something like that. And these themes were very frequently and very widely used, you know, in what is it, advertisements. In fact, some of the inspirations are from the advertisement, and also it also contributes to the advertisement. So even what is it, comics, some of the pictures that you see, is, you know, it looks like they are comical drawings. So it also drew inspiration from various comics. And also you see the images of well-known personalities, like here Marilyn Monroe. In the previous slide we had seen Elvis Presley, or even the popular people of that time, Mao, or it could be that soup jar, or even the little green man. All these are depicted. So the abbreviation popular art itself, you know, it came later on. Earlier it was known as popular art, or, you know, bright pictures, but later on it was termed as pop art later. And actually it was, you could say, a reaction against expressionism and abstract expressionism and things like that, where people wanted to create something new over there. Now let us see the pop art scene in India. So there are many artists. Today we will be seeing some of the works by Thukral and Tagra. They actually work collaboratively, and they also have this installation art also they do. And so they use very common kind of what is that, symbols or icons, like Barbie dolls or Mickey Mouse, or, and at the same time they also use a lot of traditional Indian motifs and symbols, these which are easily quite easily recognizable. So their works are actually a juxtaposition, or a, you know, in between you know, humor and color and identity and globalization and consumerism, you know, from an Indian sort of point of view. But at the same time they were also very global in nature. Their work, the scope of their work was also very global in nature. So their recent work dealt with the interpretation of Indian mythological characters and symbols, you know, that could enliven a dull and static area of the cultural material. So bringing out the Indian, you know, you could say, theme to the pop art scene. And now this is Tukral and Tagra. You can see that work, you know, here. They are basically from Chandigarh and Haryana, and you know, their abstract suggestions, you know, they are it is an everyday expression of what they see around themselves, like they are basically urban design in Gurgaon or places like that. And they enliven the situation with the, you can see some of the motifs in that are Indian motifs, birds and other things, even the floral decoration. See, it is kind of a decorative art. Some of the motifs that is used over there is repetitive in nature. And they have had their exhibitions in different parts of the world, and they are quite popular in India. Their art is very much appreciated in our country. Now let us see another example. See, again these are not paintings as such. These are all you could say these are all installation arts, that is art forms that is installed in certain places. It gives a different kind of a feeling. You can see, observe the one at the extreme left, those two figures, that's in an art gallery somewhere. The kind of, it uses, see, the different kind of medium. It is not just painting, it is also the materials used, it's also the space that is used. Down you can see that how light is being used as an art. And now even near big bridges and other areas where people use art. The one on the top that shows, I think it's a U-boat. It's an expression of war and the aftermath of the war, or even an ongoing war. So all these these art installations immerse you into a kind of a feeling. It is actually aimed at creating that space and bringing out your feelings in this way. This type of where you're using a large space to bring out those emotions, and the with the use of colors, lighting, etc. All this could be called as installation art. So the artist selects a space to create an environment. So creating a particular kind of an environment, that is very important. So how and where the elements and the work are installed, or around what, or what the site he wants to convey. An artist, it is basically the artist's vision of what that site is about. So the other art exhibitions may be planned with a particular space. It could be museum, gallery. It need not always be a museum like you see in this picture. It could be an outside place anywhere. However, the installation art, the setting is a part of the show. So how you set it is not merely the painting or the colors and things like that. It is how you are going to set it and create that scene. So it's style of art that involves creation of an immersive three-dimensional environment. So as an art critic, or as a person who appreciates art, you are into that environment. You become a part of that art work. So the viewer can enter it and explore. So you enter into that space, and then it's a different kind of a feeling. Now this has become very popular among contemporary Indian painters also. They often use installation art to create powerful and thought-provoking works. So this is another installation art. With all this, what is it? These are those speakers, different colored speakers. And here again you can see that the very immersive feel of that particular. You are surrounded by so much of voice, different voices that is hitting you, and that is what perhaps the artist wants to tell us. Of course, all of us can have our own interpretation, and that is the thing with these kind of art forms. So installation art, they are site specific. So it is so the same art, of course, they can go and keep it elsewhere, but this is has been designed for this particular space. The purposeful placement of 3D objects. So here it's not only color, it is also objects that was been kept over here, and it creates a kind of a unified kind of an experience. And the experience of people change from one person to another. How I see it, you may not see it, but then it is meant to give a kind of experience to people. It may be a temporary site or a permanent site. So like in a in an art museum and all, it may be a permanent site. But if it is somewhere outside, of course, this could be dismantled. And it, as you can see, it involves the use of different kinds of media. So it could even be sound, it could even be 3D objects, it could even be the layout of the place, etc. So it is not a passive kind of, you are going looking at it. It is kind of an active involvement of the viewer, of the participant, along with the creation. So that is the unique part, where the artist wants the viewer, The artist wants the person who are appreciating it to become a part of his art. This was displayed in the I think Kalagoda festival, I think. This is made of wood and other thing. Mother, do you think they will drop the bomb? That was the caption that was given for this. So this is Mother Earth and the mother contemplating what is going to happen and things like that. So you see, as you can see, these installations are really huge. It's a very big installation, and this was made by Madol Mukherjee. It was a 14 feet, big. So it is actually depicting us the plight of the world at this scene. Maybe some of these art installations, they are a part of our today's problems. They are sort of in a satirical way or in a humorous way or maybe in a serious way also. They are drawing your attention to what is happening in the present day situation. And see the kind of materials that is used. It's not those fine materials or anything. All what is that, ropes and what is it, dried kind of leaves and other things. So actually the artist says that it's totally from scavenged wood. It's nothing, he has not purchased anything or anything. He has just collected all this old wood and what is that, ropes and other things. And so depicting Mother Earth sitting on that chair. So it is a creative expression of the artist. So now we have another Indian artist. This is Gupta. And Shilpa Gupta, and she also uses this kind of installation art. So new media installation art, and she is drawn to how objects get defined, and she comes up with depending on the political or social scenes, she comes up with certain installations that provoke the viewers to think about what is happening around us. So it may be people's experiences or experiences at work or in zones of calamity or crisis and borderlines of labels and ideas of censorship, security, all these kinds of very fine kind of what is it, social happenings. She points out to that. She also tries to cut across the gender and other kind of barriers, but she also focuses on some of those issues that could be caused because of your gender or because of your caste or other kind of segregations that is brought about by the society. So especially she looks at all the homogeneity and as well as the heterogeneity of the people. So this in fact this is an extract from her work about those widows of Kashmir. So here her works are somehow have those subjectivity in her paintings. So her installations also have they incorporate different kinds of media. It could have also video, sound, sculpture, paintings, and it creates a kind of intimacy and connection to the viewer. It is to draw the viewer into what her expression is. And her work is also very political in nature. It addresses issues of identity, nationalism, globalism, etc. These are some of the examples of her work. Like the brass lamp, the stamps, objects of confiscated at the airport, some of those things she uses. Then like she also dwells into that psychological realm where she wants the viewer to think about like that is one of the geographical chasms of and also the feelings of people, what is that, weightlessness being suspended as if you are nowhere. That is, she pushes the boundaries of how you will understand what an object is or how you are feeling. So trying to attach the object's feelings, etc., creating that particular space to put the viewer into that particular situation. That is what she looks at. That is, this is the earlier one which I had shown was, or on the extreme left, if you could see, the first figure that you can see here is untitled, that is wives of dispersal. That is the disappeared people, the wives of the disappeared, and that was related to the women in Kashmir. So many of our themes are political in nature. Then some of the figures showing the amputated, representing sort of amputated people, that is people who have suffered because of the kind of conflicts that is there. The military rigidity or the disruption of local workers, etc. So she tries to project a kind of a political kind of understanding also through her works. So there are many Indian workers who work through this installation art, and her works have been sort of appreciated all over the world. And so that is it in today's session. We have seen pop art and installation art. Thank you, students.